All right, ladies and gentlemen, Lance Essihos is about to come on and talk to you about some really transformational stuff, especially adversity, chaos, when life throws stuff your way. How do you handle it? This guy is an epic human being, and just appreciate him as a friend. He's been on the marathon before, brought the heat, so I know it's going to be even better this time because he's grown so much in these last year and a half or so it's been. I'm just super proud of him. Stay tuned. Before we dive into that, I'm talking to you because you're becoming your greatest possible self. You're tuned in here and now today on this episode, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here, for choosing to take one step at a time to become the best version of yourself. You never know how life is going to go, but as long as you keep showing up and commit to do your best every single day, nothing is impossible. You can achieve anything you set your mind to. So thanks for being here with us. Next up is our iTunes review of the week. This week it's by P. Cully, who says, great podcast, informative and educational. Love the energy and effort that goes into this marathon. Tune in and see what I'm talking about. P. Cully, thank you so much for that review. If you want a chance to get shouted out on a future 12-hour live stream all day long and be celebrated as a review of the week, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Greatest Possible Self on the Apple Podcast Store. Let us know what you love about the show, what you want to see more of, and how we can improve it for you. And definitely hit that subscribe button so you can get all the latest episodes and updates and be able to handle any adversity that comes your way, like this interview that we're about to do with Lance. And go subscribe to his podcast, University of Adversity, because it is fucking awesome. It is epic. All right, let's introduce this epic human being, Lance, in just a second. Grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes. This is going to be the fire that you have been waiting for. Lance is an ambitious entrepreneur on a journey to inspire the masses by helping individuals achieve their life purpose. His goal is to help people grow their mindset, develop a healthy relationship with themselves, and overcome adversity so they can go on to achieve greatness in their lives. He created the University of Adversity podcast to share the stories of people and entrepreneurs who are digging deep and highlighting the challenges, the life struggles, and adversity they had to overcome in order to achieve amazing success in their lives. It's Lance's mission to help people deal with adversity and show them it's actually a gift that they can use to fuel and ignite their purpose and their passion. And we are going to bring the freaking heat in this interview. Lance, bro, are you ready? Are you ready, my man?
Oh, man. So good to be back.
Dude. It's game time, bro. It's game time.
Thanks for having me back, brother. It's been great. It's been quite the journey, man, since we first did this a while back.
Dude, I'm so stoked to hear all the different things. We're going to dive into your journey, especially over this last year and a half. Before that, though, let's talk about home, man. What does home mean to you, Lance?
What does home mean to me? It means somewhere that I feel safe and I feel content and happy, man. You know, that's a great question because I don't think I've ever been asked that before. Yeah. What is home, though? What is that to you?
It's like this source, going back to this source that everything stems from. It's so pure. It's so life. Home is life. If we just get reconnected with that, it's everything, man.
I love it, man. It's so true. Connecting to that source energy.
Yeah.
That's home. That's home, baby.
We're home. We're home. I love it. All right, dude. So you're crushing it with your show, University of Adversity, helping people launch their podcast. You're doing great stuff, man. Tell us a little bit more about what you're standing for in the world today and how you're serving your clients, man.
Yeah, thanks, brother. So University of Adversity has been quite the experience, to say the least. When we first got on this call, I think I might have just started the podcast.
Yep.
And since then, I think we're approaching 200 episodes, so things are heating up, and it's just been an incredible journey. The people I've been able to connect with, the what it's done for me personally, and allowed me to build a team and to be able to kind of work on inspiring them and having just an awesome team as well that helps me kind of put it all together, because it's one of those things that I couldn't have done myself. And you see me showing up and interviewing people, but there's so much stuff behind the scenes that goes on that makes it possible.
It's huge.
And that consistency over time is really challenging for most people, including myself. So I really, to be able to show up like you do, every week you keep showing up, you keep bringing the heat. That's not easy to do for most people, right? Even on the days where you don't feel like you want to do it, you got to show up, you got to do it. And I've just learned so much from the journey of, the interviews and making sure that we're consistent, and that over time, and it's helped, because you can't just show up one day and expect things to just happen.
Nope.
It's a compound effect.
Yeah.
Podcasting, especially, if you're not going to do it for 5 years, like anything, don't bother, because it's not a quick fix. Like, there's so many different elements to it. But man, that topic of adversity has just been something that I've dealt with in my life, and I'm constantly dancing with it. And I just love it, because there's just, adversity shows up. It's always going to show up. It's never going to go away.
Yep.
Right. But how do we deal with it? How do we lean into it? Right.
Wow.
And that's the thing. That's my mission, is to really get people comfortable with the things that are coming at them, and realize that they're actually helping them. Because if you want to level up, you have to go through stuff in order to get there. Right. So you got to love it. You got to lean into it. And I've been super fortunate over the last year to kind of go deep within that and be able to connect with so many amazing people.
Bro, there's so much I want to dive into right there. Number one, I love how you say dance with adversity, because it's not something to like fight or resist or try to like avoid, right? But it's to welcome, hey, when I'm leveling up, when I'm stepping up to new levels of me being, right? Like you freaking interviewing like Grant Cardone and Elena Cardone and like epic human beings, right? Like there's new levels of uncomfortability of discovering yourself and reaching like hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram and like all these things, right? Like you're creating that, and you also experience adversity. There's shit that goes wrong, that hits the fan. You're like, what the fuck? Like I was planning on this all working so smoothly, so seamlessly, but when it doesn't go according to plan, it's our character that shows up. And like, what is our character that shows up in those moments, man?
Yeah, that's exactly it. True character is defined not when things are going well, but how do you show up when shit hits the fan? Anybody can show up when things are, money's coming in, things are flowing, everything is great. Everybody can show up. But how do you show up when you're not? When things are when you're down, when things are coming at you? That's the true measure. So yeah, I've experienced a lot of these things in my own life, having my Instagram account hacked and taken away, and now having to start fresh. It's brutal, but at the same time, it's a gift.
Yeah.
It's a gift, because there's something telling me there was some sort of thing that wasn't aligned with me or something. And these things happen for a reason. And even though it sucks, and that's what I use to pitch a lot of podcasters to come on the show, it's okay. Now what it does is it forces me to really get creative and curious about these other platforms, and kind of start expanding instead of worrying about one. And that's a lesson for everybody too. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Go all diversify. Like, get out there. Have a show. Do things that is going to be. That's why podcasting is so powerful too, because it's evergreen. No matter what happens with the social media, if you take that away, algorithms, you're always going to have this in the airwaves, right? It's out there, and no one can take that away from you. So yeah, it's man, it's been quite the lesson going, navigating through all that.
Damn, dude, I think it's such a blessing that we have these platforms, social media platforms, and at the end of the day, it's not ours, right? Like I didn't create Facebook, I didn't create Instagram, so they can do whatever they want with my platform, my account, my profile. So it's like to collect people's email addresses, to have them subscribe onto other platforms that you are more in control of. I think is so important, man.
Yeah, man, so true. It just all this does is just I encourage people to really just understand that nothing is permanent with these platforms. Utilize them the best you can. They're great tools. There's good and bad to everything, right? You can overuse them, abuse them as well. But for where our world is going, they're very, very useful tools, but you don't want to rely just on that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, so,
100%. We had Tammy in the audience who's like,
yeah.
love the
Uh,
University of Adversity podcast. I love the diversity of guests, the lessons, and actionable takeaways I can apply in my life and business. Shout out to Tammy, big Raven fan out there. Love it, dude. It's
yeah.
no secret, man. You're so consistent. You have your whole heart in everything that you do, and you're just all about service, man. It's so powerful. I love
Man,
it.
well, people like yourself, you're setting the bar pretty high, man. I remember when I first met you, I couldn't believe it. Like I was like, man, this dude's like on fire, and you just kept the consistency, and
Thank you.
it's amazing.
Thank you.
But you know, Tammy's actually part of my team. She's been an integral part of the growth of everything that I've been creating. You know, since it's kind of starting fresh from my past business experience to where we are now. So she's been yeah, she's awesome. So thank you, Tammy, for the encouragement. But like I said, you're only as good as your team, right? Like
Yep.
that's the thing too. Is like I don't want to take credit for stuff where just myself because
Mm,
it's all a team. I like to lead and I like to inspire people, but I can't do it by myself. Nobody can do it all by themselves, right?
yeah.
But you got to show up in your arena that you are best at,
Yeah.
that you feel you bring the most value, and that's what I feel at been able to do. And you could probably agree with me. You want to focus on your strengths
Yep.
and then allow other people to focus on theirs. And I think that itself is pretty powerful at
Yeah.
getting the most out of yourself and your team. So
I want to dive into your journey. We've already talked about it before. I want to talk about in the last year, especially, how has your perspective of your journey of your life, especially the first 30 years or whatever. So, what have you discovered newly since we last talked in this last year? What would you say are some big like revelations, or how you've seen adversity or seen yourself? How has things changed for you, man?
well, for one, my path of where I was going as far as my plan for business has definitely changed.
Yeah,
You know, I didn't know what kind of journey I was going on when I started the podcast, man. It's
I
just
feel
been
you,
so much.
bro.
It's it's like it's been therapy, it's been like connections. It's done so much. So my perspective on life is completely different than it was when we talked last because I've been able to connect and talk to these people and realize that everybody everybody is so similar. Like we're all on this journey. We're just on different levels. And when you realize that from the Grant Cardones of the world, the Dean Graziosis, or somebody who's on their way coming up,
Yeah,
we all are seeking the same thing. It's just we're on different levels. So I find that pretty cool because sometimes we like to put people on pedestals that
mm,
and it can be intimidating. But the more you get to talk to these people, the more you realize that we're all sort of similar,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And yeah, I just continue to want to inspire people and just allow people to grow, man. Just like you, I have to do things that are fulfilling to my soul.
yep,
I have to do things that I know are making a difference. Like when somebody messages me and says, "I listened to that episode. It was so amazing. It like changed my life," or whatever. That there is like I could just stop and just be done, and I'd be like so happy and grateful. And I'm sure you get that a lot too. Like it's the best feeling, you know. Like it's like wow, somebody's actually the fact somebody cares and listens, and it's just super inspiring. And every time
mm,
that comes back, it just fuels my fire, right? So
yeah,
it's man, yeah, it's just a continual journey, and I've just gotten comfortable with leaning into the discomforts, man, leaning into the everyday discomforts and knowing that those are what's shaping us and helping us grow. So
mm.
yeah, it's
What
been quite the journey.
What have you learned about your unique gifts and soul and purpose?
Well, I've learned that I can connect with people. It's my gift. I'm able to connect with a human being, and um, I really enjoy taking interest in people,
Hmm.
and I feel that's my strength. So, and I've talked about this before too, and I always wondered why I liked working in the bars for so long. And it wasn't the partying, it wasn't all that. It was the connection with people, and I enjoyed the connection. I enjoyed breaking down the barriers and having these people open up. And that's what I've really noticed over having this show over the last year and a half, is just been, that's truly what I love to do,
Yeah.
and it's growing more and more. So being able to focus on that in all areas and just connecting and listening and becoming a better listener is another big thing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's just so much, it's crazy. Like you gotta, we just get, we're filling our cup so much with all these people coming in and out of our lives. It's just, it's profound.
Mm.
Yeah.
What have you learned about the type of people that you want to keep around you after interviewing so many people?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. It's like it's tough because you do. I mean, you interview so many people like you do, and it is challenging because you do want to kind of keep in touch with them, but after a while, it's like, I don't know. There's certain ones that I manage to kind of keep in
Yeah.
touch with, but
Yeah.
there's certain ones that I don't, and um, I don't know why, man. I guess there's just certain things, certain people that I don't think will share actually share, and some people you think will share don't. So it's like, it's
Yeah.
an interesting thing, but most, I like to connect and, at least keep in touch every now
Mhm.
and then and say hello, you know.
How have you learned to um, really be with people in your network when you face adversity and challenges and chaos in your life? Like, how do you lean on people in your family, in your network?
I may not do that enough. I may not do that enough. And it's something that I probably should. It's a great question, man. Like, great question. It's one of those things where I don't know. There's that fine line of trying to do it yourself, not asking for help, but then there's also, I don't know, there's a certain thing about leaning into your relationships around you and networks and helping each other, and seeing how you can be of service to that person, and always looking to help.
Yeah.
And I guess I improve on that, man. How do you, what about yourself? Like, how do you do that? Like, how are you, cuz I'd be interested to hear.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things that helps me that I'm working on is having like a commitment to consistent conversations with certain people.
Yeah.
And I think that there's like mentors and coaches and people who we like look up to and are where we want to be, and we can talk with them and brainstorm with them and connect with them. I also think having peers who are around us, who we just like connect with, who we cheer on, who we shout out. Like I know Ben Azadi is a good mutual connection of ours. Like
Yeah.
that dude is always like being a champion, putting out great stuff, and it's just like
Yeah.
connecting with those kinds of people more. I think is really valuable. The one thing I think has also made a difference for me is being like brothers, right? I feel like brotherhood and men connecting, and
Yeah.
women can connect with women, women can connect with men can connect with women. That's great. But for me, like I've really found brotherhood has been something that was missing, is where I can go like just pour my heart out to another brother who holds space for me, right? And just
Yeah.
be real and talk about, the moments where my addictions want to take over and run my life. Talk about the moments when I just feel like a piece of shit and I'm like, I made an offer to someone and they totally got butthurt and, like we're pissed at me for offering them some services, right? And so like in those moments where I feel like I did something wrong, like I'm a bad person, I share that with people, and it really like helps me out so much. I'm also super blessed. I have Petya, who's like my girlfriend, my significant other, and she's so freaking conscious, man. So I think I'm super blessed because I have someone who sees the greatness in me, even when
Mhm.
I feel like a jerk, even when I feel like I'm not showing up, even when I feel like I'm not the best version of myself. But the final thing is to just go, especially to the brothers, and say, like, dude, I just want to be here for you. Like, what do you got going on? Are you struggling? Are you dealing with something? Like, I'm not expecting to get paid. I'm not thinking about, business or anything. I just want to hear like what's going on. And I had a powerful conversation with a guy who came on my podcast, a friend of mine, and he's like, dude, I'm just like really struggling with my life and my wife, got some certain things going on, and just showing up to listen, like you said, being a great listener was so powerful for me, man. And I feel like when I do that, then other people open up the space to allow me to bear my heart, man.
Yeah, man. So man, the brotherhood and being able to share and open up things have changed. The conversation has changed from when, when I grew up playing hockey, or even, a few years ago.
Yeah.
The vulnerability and talking about things and being able to express your truth. And that's where the healing is, especially if you're gone through anything, and being able to talk to people in a safe container is amazing. And I really, that's another thing is, I've, like you said, people like Ben Azadi and the people you like, Rob Eastman, like
Yeah.
the people that we've connected with, all are kind of all on the same sort of journey, and having people that get it, like, some people are sleeping, man, and it's not their fault. They just haven't, they're just doing their thing. They're in the matrix, right? I mean, some people haven't, and sometimes you need to hit some shit in your life for you to have some realizations. And I feel like, yeah, the people that have been coming into my life, it's been pretty amazing. And I should probably try and be more of service to them. I should be reaching out more and looking how I can help, because that's the name of the game. Like, how can I help this person? How can I, right? And without expecting anything in return.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us can improve on that in general, right? But I mean, yeah, it's definitely also important to have somebody in your corner like that, like with in your relationship. That's amazing. That was a problem in my last relationship. We were completely on different frequencies, so it was like really one foot on the gas, one's on the brake. It's like hard to. That's great, and I'm blessed because my team supports me even when I sometimes don't believe in myself. They encourage, excuse me, they encourage me, and that's what it is. Some days you're gonna be a little lost, or you're gonna be confused, and it's just important to have rally around those people that lift you up. So yeah, it's super important, man.
I feel like you're a leader, like you're naturally a leader that people want to gravitate towards and listen to and connect with and even follow and be a part of your mission and movement. That's just like who you are. You have this natural kind of charisma and great energy around you that people are like, yeah, I want to listen to Lance. I want to
Thank you, man.
be a part of what you're doing. I think it's really cool that whether intentionally or naturally, you kind of have those gifts of leading yourself. And of course, there's good days, there's down days, but like overall, I think naturally you just show up as someone who people respect and want to be around as a great leader.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. I really, because we wonder how you as well, man. Like you're a leader, you're driven, and it's sometimes it's hard to see how people see us. We see ourselves, and we got our own conversations happening in our head, and I'm confident, but that takes work. It takes to show up. It's intentional work every day to show up, to be a positive and a leader. And I'm still learning, but I love hearing that, because sometimes you wonder how people perceive you. And there's been so many things in life where it's so easy to wear the mask and try and be like somebody else. And I find, since I started to really just be comfortable exactly with who I am, and stop, just take off the mask and just be real. And people can gravitate towards that, man. Like, people just want real humans. There's so much bullshit out there, and just so many fake people. It's like, and it's a real issue out there. And it's nice when you can connect with people that are like actually authentic. And I mean, you do the same thing. You just got to show up as yourself, and allow your tribe to you'll attract the right people if you're doing things that are aligned with who you want to be. Right? If you do things that you don't want to do, you're not going to have the proper actions, and in turn you're going to be vibrating at a level of, you're going to be attracting the wrong people, right? And that's where things get ugly. So
yeah, man. How do you live the University of Adversity outside of the podcast? How do you embody that movement, man?
Man, these are questions. These are awesome. I'm just so used to asking the questions that it's nice to get these. It's nice to have the reversal. You'll have to come back on my show too. Yes. Yeah, I just try to. It's something I have to do every day. Every single time adversity pops into my life, some sort of challenge, I have to learn to love it. I have to learn to love it, because that's, we have no choice. It's coming, right?
Yep.
So, I learn to love it, learn to crave the challenges, because if the challenges aren't coming at you, then you aren't growing. Yes, we want everything to be smooth,
Mm.
but actually appreciating the shitty times and the hard times in the moment, it's hard to do. It's very hard to do, but getting comfortable with that is where the magic is. Because then you're unstoppable, because you know that shit's coming and you almost want it to, because then on the other side there's some sort of reward or gift.
Mm.
Facing a fear, facing a challenge, or overcoming adversity, there's always a gift on the other side of that. Always.
Yeah.
Right. And I think in my own life, just realizing that, even in business, like it's been such a freaking challenge the last year, man, like with the business and stuff, having partners before and then rebranding, starting again and doing this whole thing. And, really, man, that itself, and having a vision and believing that vision,
Mm.
it's like a day thing. Some days you'll think, well, you're crazy, like the vision you have, but you have to be a little bit. And I think with adversity, I've been tested so much, and I've just gotten comfortable with it.
Mm.
And even though in the moment, like I said, it's never pleasant, but I'm always really grateful after we overcome it. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, man, it's been quite the year
let's
to
let's
embody it.
let's dive into the vision, because I know we've talked before and like really marveled, so to speak, at the time that we are living in with podcasting, with this like revolution that's going on, man.
Yeah.
Like what keeps you driving forward? What is the vision that you're committed to creating? What is your soul here to do and to give and to gift and to create in this world?
You know, the the real thing is I want to help people, express their truth through vulnerability, like being able to be vulnerable, to be able to you really learn their truth.
Yeah.
So I use podcasting as a way to allow that for myself. And I believe creating a platform. So, I want to be able to help people amplify their already existing message, right? Because so many people out there are working hard and doing this or doing that, but everybody needs to be heard more. And I feel that being able to have somebody have a show and be able to have that voice in people's ears, it's just such a service to the world. And I really want to build a network of massive people that want to change the world and help them amplify their message. And podcasting happens to be that platform now.
Yeah.
And I just feel that it's just that we're in the golden age of it, right? And my vision is to really just inspire people to want to bring their business or their message to life even more than it is already. And just seeing what it's done for me and seeing what it's done for other people, I believe that podcasting itself is just going to be this massive, it is already is this massive revolution. And I'm just grateful to be a part of it. And I really, really want to help other people be able to do the same thing.
When people are vulnerably expressing themselves and being their true authentic selves, getting their message out, having this platform to be able to express what's most important to them, what kind of world will we live in?
We're going to live in a world where people can be themselves. We're going to live in a world where people don't have to hide, right? And it's okay. It's okay that we've gone through trauma. It's okay that we have bad thoughts sometimes. I believe that people are so scared to be themselves because of the judgment around them. If everybody just stopped judging and just kind of worry about themselves and opening up and allowing, not just like dumping your shit on everybody all the time, but just like being comfortable with being like, you know what? I had a really challenging childhood. I went through that, but I'm going to use it. I'm going to be empowered. I'm not going to be a victim from it. Right. And just admitting what you've gone through and working on that, it's such an empowering thing, and you become in control, in the driver's seat, instead of letting that thing control you. So that's the thing, as I really want to, Lewis Howes does a good job with this, allowing people to just really be themselves. And the more people can be themselves, and the more they can share what it is they actually are, the more, I mean, the happier people will be, right? Because people are hiding, and that's why there's just such a problem with people, you know, drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever it is, to mask this thing that they haven't dealt with. And a lot of it is just built up and not being able to share what's bothering them. So
Yeah, dude, I love it.
I
I
go
love it.
off on tangents, man. You know
I
me. I
love
just
it. I love it.
go
I hear
off.
more freedom, more peace, more
Yeah.
people being their true selves, more connection, more
Yeah.
realness, like more life. People really
Mm,
living life, being at home, right? Like
yeah.
not being disconnected, afraid of something in the future, carrying some bullshit from the past, burdens,
Yeah.
traumas, anxiety, whatever it might be, but like really just being here and now with nowhere to get to. I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with is they aren't vulnerable, so they got this mask on. So they're like, man, I just want to get to the next place where someday maybe I'll be able to take off this mask. I'll be able to be real. I'll be able to stop carrying this burden and like be able to take it off my back and set it on the side and just like be real with someone. But it
Yeah.
takes like being willing to do that on a daily basis, taking the mask off, taking the mask off, taking the mask off, and
Mm,
practicing that and being comfortable with the uncomfortable, with the adversity, with like how crappy it might feel to admit, man, I was a liar when I was younger. I was a cheater. I was like whatever, you know, like to admit that, hey, that was a part of my journey. And because someone may have been resisting it for so long, it's like it has become them. The resistance has become their identity. Like I'm
yeah.
not that. I'm not that. I'm not that. So they're trying to prove that there's something other than that, which is coloring and flavoring every single action, every single thought that they have. You know,
Yeah.
and so to just be real finally allows people to stop being driven by this insecurity that they're trying to defend against. You
Mhm.
know?
Yeah, and leaning into it and accepting it and giving it
Yeah.
love, because
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
resisting that thing is what's causing that thing is just, it needs love. It needs to be
Yep.
healed properly. As cheesy as that sounds, it's the truth.
Mm.
It's when we put that away and it's in the files and we don't want to look at it, that's when things get ugly. If
Mm.
you're you got to look at you got to be able to look at what's going on in your life. You
Yep.
got to be able to face it. When you can face it, you doesn't have the power
Mm.
over you anymore. And then you go from having one foot on the gas, one foot on the brake to full, you know, floored on, you know, both feet on the pedal, right? Instead
Yeah.
of like, but that's the self talk. That's the self sabotage that a lot of people have, is because of they don't want to lean into what they're feeling, and they
Mm.
don't want to express it. And they think ignoring it's going to go away, but it's not.
No. You had some pretty, I think, a powerful, profound spiritual experience over the last year. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that shaped you, man?
Yeah. Well, I've just that has been when I started this whole thing, you know, personal development, starting and doing meditation and gratitude. That really shifted for me, you know. This year I in the last year, 2019 was crazy. I went on a lot of different things. I did Tony Robbins, I did 2 Kundalini yoga retreats, really energy moving practices, Kundalini, and I've just toyed with it a little bit. I haven't really practiced it a lot, but I really got into yoga. There's a lot of things that happened where I just kind of like, I don't know, I became a different person. It just my energy and my flow and the people I was attracting into my life, and it was really interesting. And I'm just getting started. You know, you know, there's so many things that I'm interested in. You know, there's plant medicine that I'm interested in. I'm learning more about that, learning about different things that to expand who we are. And yeah, I feel everybody. I used to be so against spiritual talk or people saying, I used to be like, don't believe in any of it, right? And
Yeah.
whatever it is, God, Buddha, whatever, it's so important to have some sort of spiritual practice,
Yeah.
you know, to connect your soul. And it's when I don't do that, I feel I'm off my game. And you
Mm.
probably feel the same, right? Like,
Yep.
how important is that to you?
Dude, I feel like in the last year that has been one of the greatest transformations that I've had. Surrendering, trying to do it all on my own, and saying, God, you're fucking using me. Like, let's go. Let's let go of trying to control the reins. I think that being responsible and saying I control my life and like where it goes, I'm going to control my thoughts. I'm going to control how I show up. I think that was something I was resisting, to say I'm willing to be in control, because then I'm responsible at the end of the day for what happens and what doesn't happen. And I was resisting like owning that.
Hmm.
And then there's also the aspect of like, God, you're using me. Like I want a deeper relationship with you, God, source, universe, creator, whatever it is. And so I started reading the Bible at the beginning of the year. I grew
Yeah.
up Christian in a Christian home, going to church like every freaking weekend. And then in my late teenage years, I said, screw you, mom and dad, screw you, church, screw you, God. I don't need love. I don't need nothing. I'm going to do this
Yeah.
on my own, right? Like when
Yeah.
deep inside I'm this insecure, wounded little boy. And it was tough, man. I would say I went through some of the most difficult, alone, depressing times of my life trying to fix my life with instant gratification, going to parties and raves, like manifesting like money and houses and women. Like I thought I wanted, multiple women because that would fill me up. That would finally make me
Yeah.
enough. And everyone has their own preferences and stuff, but for me I've just really learned so much of that was being driven by my wounded ego. And so over the years, it's just been like, God, show me what I'm missing. Like, teach me. I am humble. Like I know that I know nothing. So show me how to reconnect with my source. Show me how to reconnect with my soul, with my guidance, with my intuition, because I have tried to do it so long on my own, being in control out of fear rather than being in control. I'm responsible and I'm connected with my source of power. So I'd say that's been a huge transformation over the last year, man.
Yeah, I love the surrender. It's so true. Surrendering to what's happening, doing your best, what you can control.
Yep.
The rest, you got to surrender. You
Yep.
got to, because sometimes you're turning off the tap if you actually resist by gripping too tight. You got to allow the flow.
Yep.
And I know whenever I've got out of it, it's been from I've literally created the resistance in myself. As soon as that goes away, then things start to flow again. And once you start to see that and you're really self-aware, it's amazing because you can kind of see how you can control your life, like how things actually you have a lot more control than we think we do.
Yep.
And a lot of that comes down to that spiritual, the connecting to whatever it is, and it's humbling. It's like, and to think like we're just getting started, we're just learning this stuff. Like I just, and I feel like I know nothing in the world. Like I feel like, and that's a beautiful thing at the same time.
Yeah. Blank slate.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's something that I need to work on more though, that my consistency with it. But you're right. Like it's super, super important. And I think the lesson in the Bible is an amazing, I think the story and what the actual message is incredible.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I've heard that many, many times.
Yeah. Have you read Earth is Hiring by Peter Kelly?
No.
So you were talking about TAP.
Yeah.
Earth is Hiring by
I'm
Peter
writing it
Kelly.
down.
Just amazing book for people who are expanding their consciousness and out to make a bigger impact in the world. Just like badass, talks about money and like circulation of money, how that's like a good thing. Talks about people's consciousness connecting to the higher source and stuff. It's really badass book. So Earth is Hiring. Anyone who's listening or tuning in, check that book out. It is rad. I wanted to talk about this upcoming year, 2020, such a beautiful, fertile year. What's going to be different about this year than last year for you, Lance?
Well, last year I ended the year with a lot of steam. Like we were rocking, like things were like, I was going into 2020 thinking, wow, like we're going to dominate this. And I was, the first bit of the year was not as expected. I went through a bit of a funk, and I'm so grateful for that, because then it's, now I look at it and I'm like, it has to happen like that. I wasn't ready for what I was asking for yet. And I think this year is going to be super powerful in all areas, because last year was letting a lot of old relationships go. There's a lot of shit that went down last year. A lot of like good, bad, the ugly, but I finished off with a ton of steam. And I think our egos can get pretty big, and I'll admit mine did. You start getting all these people on your show, you start to think like, oh, and sometimes your life is all about the balance. John DeMartini talks about this in the Breakthrough Experience. It's all about, you get too high, you're gonna get your ass knocked down. You get too low, you're gonna come back up. It's all about the balance. So I feel like the universe was kind of testing me at the end, 2020. So, and then in the beginning, it's like, all right, you got to come back to reality here. So it's been really good, but I've learned that now, and I'm looking at it. And as I explore this year and our business expands, things are starting to flow now. Things are clients and just everything has that flow now. It feels like we're back, and that's again character. When shit hits the fan, how do you show up? And I'm just blessed that my team and myself, we've kind of learned lessons, and there's going to be more lessons in 2020. I know it, but I feel like now we're really just going to keep pushing and pushing and expanding and have a massive successful year. Massive goals for this year, man.
I love it. I love it. Dude, I don't know why I keep thinking of this, but I went to Bali last year and did our retreat there, a 7-day flow and fire retreat. It's freaking badass. But I just keep feeling for you like there's some kind of magic in Bali for you. You've never been, right?
I've been back in 2013.
Oh wow. Damn.
Dude,
I think it's time to go back, bro.
Yeah, why? That's interesting. Why?
Because I feel like you are at this place of awakening where you're like hungry for it, you're ready for it, you're expanding into it. And like plant medicines, they're beautiful. I love them, like totally for it. And for me, what happened is I kept setting the intention, right? I think intention is like everything. I set the intention last year before going to Bali. I'm like, I'm going to have a transformational DNA altering cellular transformation in my body going to this place, going to Bali. Because it's like the ley lines of the world. You know how like Sedona and Mount Shasta and stuff like that has energy vortexes there. Well, in Bali, it crosses, like these ley lines intersect, and there's like this powerful vortex, energy vortex there. And I was there for almost a month, man, and I feel like I came back a completely different freaking human being. And it was such a profound experience for me, man. And dude, I think for you in this exploration of reaching your next level and like really embodying who you are, awakening your DNA, awakening who you are, I think it's just, for me, it was super powerful, man. So
yeah, dude, Bali, you're absolutely right. And I think going there now would be a different experience. Like we were in Ubud, Ubud's one of the coolest places on the planet Earth. Did you go to Ubud?
Yes.
Oh
yes.
Man, what a place. And there's something magical in the air there. The people, everything is just, man, even like I prefer it over Thailand. Thailand was fun party wise and stuff. But if you want like a great place to kind of, rediscover or whatever it is in the soul, Bali is. It's funny you say that now, because now I'm like, okay, why are we having this conversation now? I need to like investigate like going to Bali now, man.
I love it, man. And I think you listen to the universe and what it keeps reminding you of. Like every day I'll show up open, like guide me today, God, source, universe, guide me. What am I supposed to know? Where am I supposed to be? That's something I've resisted a lot, is like trying to control being in a safe environment. Like for me, being in an office and having consistency of calls and things like that, that's been safe for me. But I know my expansion is when I go travel and do things like I don't even know how it's all going to work out. I don't even know what's going to happen. But like Bali was like that last year, where a lot of the stuff wasn't planned, but I just showed up and I like went with the flow of it, like just taking that leap. It was our first retreat, doing like a 7-day retreat, and like so transformational. Participants' minds were freaking blown. But I think for you, like just really stepping more into listening what the universe has to share with you, and might be plant medicine, might be Bali, might be something completely different. But I think just where is the higher consciousness? Where do you access that? What is the most aligned place for you? The best next steps? I think for me, it's like surrendering to God has been one of those big places, but everyone has their own journey. So getting curious about it has been freaking, it's like mind blowing, man.
Man, I know. And sometimes I wonder, am I living in the right place for energy wise? Like I live in a beautiful city, but it's downtown. Yeah. And I've seen how I felt when I lived in Sydney, right on the beach. It's a different feeling. And I wonder sometimes, because with, what kind of work that I do, I mean, I could live wherever.
Yeah.
And energetically, where your environment is just going to shape who you are. And it's going to impact your business. Right. Yeah. So, and I'm constantly figuring out more about myself, and I'm struggling with certain things too. But I did actually recently have a plant medicine journey, and I was showed a lot of stuff that was like, whoo, all right, stuff I already knew, but I was like, you got to look at this stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
man, it was, I'm not encouraging people. That's up to you. You do your own thing. But for me, it was calling me, and I went on quite the thing, and I was showing
Yeah.
some stuff. Have I applied it yet into my life? No. And it's pointless. If you're going to do personal development, you're going to do anything. If you don't apply it, it's pointless. If you're going to read books and not apply it, it's pointless, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing too. It's like when you go and you listen intuitively, and whether you meditate, you get those downloads. You got to write them and you got to put them in action. Otherwise, it's pointless. It's like you're not listening. Right?
So what's missing from applying it?
That's a great thing. I struggled for a while with alcohol, right? And it's another dance that I've been playing with, and it's back in my life now. And I'm not sober like I was, and I've tried to play with it back and forth. And I'm one of these people. I like to have a good time when I socialize.
Yep.
So I know you went on the sober journey too, right? Are you still on it?
I broke my fast.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. That's you went a while, but
But
so
a year, yeah.
that's freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I did a year, and it's a great feeling.
Yeah.
But I know that it doesn't serve me, and I know that I shouldn't. But it's one of these things where I can be very black and white sometimes. I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore, never again.
Yep.
Or I'm like, I'm either in or in the way kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to dance with it to make it so that I can have balance, but it's been challenging, man, because a lot of our old programming, it's like you ride a bike. You don't ride a bike for years, but you'll always remember that bike when you sit on it, right? And even though I've changed a lot and done a lot of things, it's so easy to go back to the old programming because of the setting and the people. And it's and it's really mind boggling because you're like, I thought I was done with this part.
Yeah.
And it sometimes wants to pull you back to that world. So for me, it's been like and I'm happy to share that with people. It's like, these are the struggles that we all have. And my life isn't all, sunshine and rainbows. I go through and I deal with a lot of shit in my own head.
Yeah.
But it's important to learn to master yourself and to be in control and not be a victim, right? And everything we do is our choice. Every choice we make, it's on us. So I don't know why I even went down that road, but it's definitely something that has been challenging for me.
Dude, it's been extremely challenging for me to find what works, and I don't know. I feel like for me, I have like a really addictive personality. Like I love to feel good. Yeah. And what's really worked for me is like, it's almost like, not like I need permission from Petya, but I just let her know if I'm going to indulge myself, if I'm going to, relax in that specific way. Because it's different, like everyone's vices, everyone's things that they do. Some people might like video games, some people might like porn, some people might like whatever, drugs and alcohol, whatever it is. I think if you just communicate with someone before you're about to do it, like for me, like I just now have this filter in my head, or this like kind of whenever I want to feel intoxicated or whatever it might be, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to go tell Petya and I'm going to say, I want to do this thing. And why do I want to do it? Why do I want to do it this specific moment? How will it impact the rest of my day, the rest of my week, whatever it might be? And having to like justify that, there's this, angel and demon on my shoulders. Like the demon's like, well, go indulge, go feel good, go, like enjoy life. That's what you're here to do. Plus, I mean, there's all these benefits that happen when you feel good, right? Feel good, whatever the vice is. And then there's the angel that's like, you don't need it. You don't need anything. Yeah. Like you are experiencing a feeling of unworthiness or some shit is coming up. Process it. Like be present to it. Be present to what's coming up. And even just yesterday, I was like journaling so much, feeling like this pull for vices, right? Like this pull to get intoxicated. And it's like, bro, just sit with it. Sit with the feeling. What's coming up? And if you're not able to share it with someone else and feel good about like that you want to do it and you're going to do it, then chances are there's something there that you're wanting to escape. You're wanting to numb. You're wanting to just avoid being with your reality exactly as it is. So
Yeah.
sit with that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, that's essentially what's happening with any addiction, right? You're trying to fill the void
Yeah.
or mask something. And I ask myself that too. I'm like, why do I truly just enjoy socializing. I enjoy having a couple beers. I enjoy, if this is the thing too, is when you're single, you go out on dates and you got, it's always, you got to go eat, have a wine. You don't have to, but it's in our day and age, it's a challenging conversation, especially, oh, I don't, not drinking, and it's all done. I've done it before, but
Yeah.
it's sometimes I'm just like, fuck it. I'm just going to have a wine.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, I've done that now. I can just have a beer. And then it just becomes part of your life again. Right.
Yep.
And it's so easy to become the person that drinks all the time on every occasion.
Yep.
It becomes this thing that's normal. And that's where that's a slippery slope. Right. And that's where you got to get control. And that's where I think a lot of people can fall into. And I just enjoy, like you said, I love, hey, let's get together. But there's certain things like that can definitely go from having that one to like, it's actually not serving you at all.
Yeah.
And it's not aligned with, I ask myself too, I'm like, is this aligned with the person that I actually want to be? And a lot of times it's no, so I won't. But sometimes that other voice will be like, come on, you worked hard. What are you worried about? You only live once. Like,
Yep.
exactly. Like,
Yep.
thank you for that. Thanks.
You're right, man.
Yeah. I listen to you. Okay, all right.
Yeah, dude, I think this is a really, really awesome conversation because when the adversity hits, that's when our commitment to like whatever is the higher path, the more difficult path, typically, the path that takes more willpower or more effort or more consciousness, becomes more difficult. It's like there's a bigger gap there. And, like chaos and adversity, it's going to keep happening in our life. I think it's really about the structures that we put in place. It's the people who we say, this is my commitment. These are the boundaries that I have with this thing. And I promise you, like, that's what I will continue to maintain. Like, if we're meant to have fun and enjoy something, then good, go enjoy it. And for me, it's like, if there's any shame or any kind of guilt or any kind of, I don't feel good about asking or letting this person know that I'm going to go do that, then there's something deeper there to really, really address.
I think that's a really awesome tool, man. Thank you for that. I think a lot of people can use that in their own lives. That's exactly true. Like, if you aren't willing to share it with somebody, then there's got to be a bigger issue.
Yeah, man. Dude, this is powerful stuff.
Yeah, man.
So we talked about your next year and what you're creating. Definitely more connection with your spiritual self. How will your nurturing of the relationships that are already in your life, how will that be different?
Well, I always want to improve, and I always want to be better, and I want to be more of service, even to my family, to everybody around me, my team. And I think I'm just going to consciously just work on building the relationships and just adding as much value as I can. And there's some things that have popped up in my head that I've told myself how I've been showing up as selfish. And there's times where I feel that I'm not showing up to my full. I think we all go through this on certain days. I tend to beat myself up a little bit, too much sometimes, but I really want to nurture the relationships by adding as much value as I can. And I feel now I'm at the place where I can help. And I love to help people, because that's when I needed help from people when I was trying to figure my shit out a couple years ago. And I always appreciated people that if I reached out to them, that they would have the time. Some people don't, some people do. I always remember the people that do. And I just always want to be whatever I can do to help my relationships, whether it's my team, my business, friends, I want to be able to show up and without any expectation, right? Kind of like why I started the podcast. I didn't want to start it to, go and become a millionaire from the show. I wanted to add as much value without anything in return to start, right? And then now it's like, all right, it's got to the point where, it feels right where we're at, and with business and everything. And I just generally just want to add as much value as I can to whoever's in my life.
Boom. I love it. I love it, Lance. Let's drive it home with the final words of wisdom, words on adversity, how to handle chaos, or anything else that you're inspired to share with our audience as we wrap it up, man.
Yeah, I would just say get comfortable with the discomfort. That's there for a reason. If you want to level up, you're not going to get there unless you're comfortable with the discomfort. That discomfort and getting through that is the thing that's getting you the next level.
Yep.
It has to. Otherwise, you stay the same. So get super comfortable with the uncomfortable situations and crave them, love them. Give it love, because that's actually serving you more than when things aren't challenging you.
Wow. Dude, I know personally for me, there's some conversations I've been resisting having, waiting for the perfect moment, things like that, to have tough conversations. And I really appreciate how you're sharing this, because having the tough conversation, however it winds up, that is the growth edge. That is what has been holding me back. That is what will take my life, my income, my relationships, my happiness to the next level, man. So I feel these words like deeply, and I know that people who are tuning in are really receiving them as well, dude.
Yeah, man, it's great. Adversity is the medicine. It's the medicine we need. It's
So
yeah, I love that word. Everything. I love it, man.
Dude, you know what one of the side effects of having your brand be something, right? Like greatest possible self, University of Adversity, you are going to get fucking tested on how much you embody that brand.
I know.
Because it's like you created it. Your soul created it. It's like I'm here to embody this, and I'm going to get the contrast of not embodying it. When I don't embody greatest possible self, I'm like, damn, like but that's who I am. Like, it's time to get back in action, man. So I love it. I love what you're embodying, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's funny because I was on a call with Marcus Aurelius Anderson. I had him on my show, and we were talking about adversity, right? Because he's the same adversity. And right after that conversation, I had so much adversity come at me. Like, it was like the weeks after that were just like, holy shit, like I'm getting tested right now. That's like, we talked about it, and it was like the universe being like, oh, okay, I'm going to fuck with you. You think you know it all? Boom. Here you go. And there was just like so much stuff that happened. And I was just like, amazing. Just like you said, it's testing me to see, do I embody this in my real life? Or is it just the facade? And it's not. It's like, it's what I eat, breathe, and sleep. I go through this shit every day. And just a student of life, man. Just a student of life.
I love it. I love it, Lance. Let's tell our audience how they can stay connected with you, find your podcast, when do you release it, all that good stuff. What can they do next?
Yeah, so University of Adversity, it's all over the place. Okay. Go check it out. I appreciate you. Hit me up, yeah, and I mean, I'm on all social media. Okay. My most of my social media is Lance W. Essihos. But my Instagram is now lance.essihos. And I'm happy to hop on a call with anybody that wants to explore the world of podcasting, or any questions. I've just anybody listening out there, I'm always open to give what I know, or if I don't have the answers, to point you in directions with people like yourself that may have the answers. So yeah,
I love it, man. I'm honored to be on the journey with you, brother. Thank you so much for who you are, for
awesome, brother,
sticking with the vision, sticking with the mission, sticking with like really being a light. And I see people when they share your stuff and they tune into your podcast, and they're just like jacked on it, man. Like you're doing it right. You're showing up. You're just taking one step at a time and being real. So I just want you to know, keep going, keep showing up. It's making a difference.
Appreciate it, man. You too. You're inspiring so many people, and just love what you're doing. And it's really, really amazing, dude. Like your energy you bring, like you're making shifts in people's lives, bro. So thank you for having me. I'm really, really grateful and feel blessed.
Thank you, Lance. I appreciate you, brother. Have a freaking awesome rest of your day, bro. You deserve it.
You too, man. Thank you so much.
See you, man.
See ya.